Hello everyone, welcome to a new video of Coding with Ivan, and in this video we are going to make a video player application for Android. Here it will show all the videos inside our phone storage in a recycler view, and we can play videos by clicking on them. Let's click this one. It will start playing this video. If we rotate our phone, it will start playing in the full screen view. And in this application we can also swipe horizontally to fast forward and rewind like MX player. Alright, and we can also adjust the volume by swiping vertically like this. Alright, so let's see how we can make that. So at first, as you can see, I have opened a new project named video player with a new empty activity. So here at first I'll design our main activity here, and for the theme I'll change the theme here. Inside the rest folder I'll go inside the values, then inside the themes I'll select this themes.xml, and from here I'll just change this style from dark action bar to no action bar. Okay, because we are going to use some toolbar for our action bar in our activity. Okay, so now let's go back to the activity main.xml here, and inside here I'll change the root layout to a linear layout, and I'll set the orientation of this linear layout to vertical, and then I'll change the background color of this linear layout. So for this, let's define a new color here inside our colors.xml. So here I'm going to create a new color. I'll call this, let's say, gray, and for the color code I'll pass CAD5E2. Okay, so now I'll go back to the activity main here, and then for the background I'll pass @color / gray. Alright, now inside this linear layout I'll remove this text view here, and here I'll create a new toolbar. I'll select the Android X toolbar, and here for the width I'll pass match parent, and for the height I'll set it to attribute / action bar size, so it will get the default height of a action bar. Okay, and inside this toolbar I'll create a text view where I'll show the name of our application. So here for the width I'll pass match parent, and for the height let's pass wrap content here, and then inside here for the text, inside this text view I'll pass @string / app name, so it will show the app name here, which is I have defined video player. Now I'll change the text alignment to be center. Okay, I'll also change the text size to 20 sp, and I'll also change the text style to bold. Let's also change the text color to black. Okay, and now under this toolbar I'll define a new recycler view where we will show our video files from the internal or the external storage. Okay, so here I'll write recycler view, so I'm going to use the androidx.recycler view here, and here for the width I'll pass match parent, for the height I'll pass match parent. Okay, and I'll give this recycler view an ID. I'll call this recycler_view, and let's give this recycler view a margin of 10 dp. Alright, so that's it for the UI of our activity main. And now for the items in the recycler view, we are going to create a new custom layout. So for this I'll go inside these layouts, and I'll create a new layout resource file. I'll call this custom_layout list. So here at first I'll change this constraint layout into card view. I'll use the androidx.cardview.widget here, and inside here I'll keep its width as match parent, and I'll change the height as wrap content here. I'll give this a layout margin of 10 dp. I'll set a card elevation of 8 dp here, and also a card corner radius of 8 dp also. And finally I also need to give this card view an ID, because we will need that later in our application. So here I'll name this as main underscore container. Okay, and now inside this card view we are going to add a new linear layout, and here I'll set the width as match parent and the height as wrap content here, and I'll also set the orientation of this new linear layout to vertical. And inside this linear layout I'm going to create a image view and another text view. Okay, so at first let's create the image view here. So for the image view I'll set the width as match parent, and for the height let's pass 150 dp. Okay, and I'll set the ID of this image view to img thumbnail. Okay, and I'll also change the scale type of our image view to center crop, so it fits inside the image view properly. And then under the image view I'm going to create a new text view here. So for the width of the text view I'll pass match parent, and for the height I'll pass wrap content. I'll also give this text view an ID. I'll call this txt name. I'll change the text color to color black. I'll set the text alignment to text start, and I'll also change the text size to 18 sp. I'll also change the text style to be, let's say, bold, and I'll give this a padding of 6 dp, and I'll make this in single line. So I'll set the single line attribute to true, and let's try to give this a horizontal scrolling effect. So for this I'll write scroll horizontally to true, and we also have to write the ellipse size to marquee, and then the marquee repeat limit to marquee forever. Okay, so that's it for the UI of our custom list for our custom recycler view. So now let's create a new view holder for our recycler view. So for this I'll go here and create a new Java class. I'll call this, let's say, video view holder, and inside this class I'll make this extends recycler view dot view holder. It's showing an error, so we'll just click on this red bulb here, and it's asking to create a constructor. So I'll click on here, it will create a constructor for us. And now outside of this constructor we will define the objects of our custom view. So I'll write public, at first let's call the image view, I'll call this img thumbnail, and then I'll write the text view, I'll call this txt name, and finally for the main holder we created a card view for our main element holder. So I'll create an object for our card view, and I'll call this, let's say, card view. Okay, now inside this view holder we need to initialize our views. So after this super item view I'll write call our img thumbnail equals item view dot find view by id r dot id dot img thumbnail, and then for the txt name equals item view dot find view by id r dot id dot txt name. Lastly, for the card view, I'll write item view dot find view by id r dot id dot we named our card view as maybe main container. Okay, alright, so this is our view holder. Now we need to create a adapter, a custom adapter for our recycler view. So for this, I'll go again here and create a new Java class. I'll call this custom adapter. So inside this class, I'll make this extends recycler view dot adapter, and here I'll pass our custom view holder, which I named as video view holder. Alright, and as you can see, it's showing some error because if we click on this red bulb here, it will ask to implement the methods. So I'll click here, select all these three and click on OK. So it will create these three methods for our adapter: the on create view holder, on bind view holder, and get item count. Okay, we will come to this later, but before that we will define some objects. So here at first I'll define a context, so private context, and then as we are going to pass video files to show inside our recycler view, we will create a object for a file list. So I'll write private list of file, and I'll call this files. And then we need to create a constructor for our adapter. So I'll just right click here and go to generate, and here I'll click on constructor. Then we need to select these two. I'll select both of them and click on OK. So here we have our constructor. So now let's go inside our on create view holder, and here instead of returning null, we'll return a new video view holder, and here I'll pass layout inflator dot from, and here I'll pass the context dot inflate, and here I'll pass the custom layout that we created, which is r dot layout dot this one, the custom list. So custom list, and then comma, the second parameter will be the parent, and then the third for the attached to root we will pass false. Okay, so this is for the on create view holder. And now let's come to the on bind view holder. So here at first we will set the file name inside the text view, and we will set the thumbnail of the video file inside the image view. So let's quickly define the text view first. So I'll write holder dot txt name dot set text, and here I'll pass files dot get from position. So it will take the file from the particular position, and we'll get the name by using dot get name. Alright, so it will show the file name here, and to give this a horizontal scrolling effect, I'll write holder dot txt name dot set selected to true. Alright, so that's it for the text view. Now let's create a thumbnail to show inside our image view. So for this I'll create a bitmap. I'll call this thumb equals thumbnail utils dot create video thumbnail, and here we need to pass the path of the file. So I'll write files dot get position dot get absolute path, And for the second parameter, I'll go into a new line, and here I'll pass the media store dot images dot thumbnails dot minikind. All right, so now we got our thumbnail as thumb here, so we'll set this bitmap inside our image view. So for this I'll write holder dot image thumbnail dot set image bitmap, and here we'll pass thumb that we created. That's it for the onBind view holder. Now for the get item count, I'll pass files dot size. Okay, so that's it for our custom adapter. Now we can go inside our main activity and start our coding. So at first here I'll define objects for our recycler view and our file list, etc. So at first I'm writing for the recycler view, I'll call this recycler view, and then for a list of file that we are going to pass for our adapter. So list of file, I'll call this, let's say, file list. And then for the path from where we are going to show the videos, in this example I'm going to get the internal storage of our device to show the videos. You can also get the path for our SD card storage. You will get the method to get the storage of the SD card in my File Explorer video tutorial. I'll give the link in the description. I'm not adding it here because that will make the video more long. So I'll take the path for our internal storage. So for this I'll take a file, I'll name this path, and I'll create a new file from the path system.getEnvironment, and here for the internal storage I'll pass external underscore storage. In the Android system, the internal storage is named as external storage and the SD card is named as secondary storage. Okay, so don't get confused here. And then we'll create another object for our custom adapter. So I'll call our custom adapter that we created, and I'll define an object here called custom adapter. Alright, and now let's go to the onCreate method, and first of all we need to ask the permission to access the storage. Okay, so for this I'm going to the manifest file, and inside here I'll define the permissions that we need for the application. So I'll write users permission android.permission.read external storage. Let's close this now. So we'll just going to use the read external storage permission here. Now let's go back to the main activity.java here, and we need to define a method to ask the runtime permission. So let's create a method here. I'll call this as ask permission, and I'll create this method outside of the onCreate method. Okay, and now to ask the runtime permission I'm going to use a library that I use most of the time, which is the Dexter library. So I'll give the link of this library in the description. From there you can visit this page and you just need to copy this dependency here. Now let's go back to the Android Studio, and here we need to open the Gradle files. We need to go inside this module Gradle file. So inside here, inside these dependencies, I'll paste that. Okay, and we need to click on sync now. Once it's done, we can close this, and we'll go inside this ask permissions method, and here I'll write Dexter dot with context, and here I'll pass the context, which is this, and then dot with permission, and here I'll pass manifest dot permission dot read external storage, and then we also need to create a listener. So I'll write dot with listener, and I'll create a new permission listener. Okay, so here we got three methods: the on permission granted, on permission denied, and on permission rational should be shown. Okay, so for the on permission rational, here we got the permission token, so we'll just call this permission token inside it, and we'll write dot continue permission request, so that will continuously ask the permission if the user denies that. Okay, and for the on permission denied, we can show a toast message saying permission is required. Okay, so let's write storage permission is required. Okay, and now for the on permission granted, we can show our files. So for this, let's call a method here. I'll write display files, and let's create this method outside of the on create method. So I'll click on the main activity here, and one thing is here left, that is outside here we need to write dot check. Okay, now it's done. Now we need to work on this display files method. So before showing the files, let's create another method to get the video files from our storage. So for this, I'll create a new method. I'll call this private, and its return type will be an array list of file. Okay, and I'll call this method as find videos, and here we'll pass a file. Okay, now inside this method body, I'll initialize a new array list of file. I'll call this my videos equals new array list. All right, and then let's also create a file array. So I'll call this all files equals, and here we'll store all the files that we are getting as or from the parameter. So I'll call this file here. So I'll write file dot list files. So we'll get all the files inside this particular file in our this all files array. Okay, so now we'll start finding for the video files inside these files. Okay, so here at first I'll write a for loop, and I'll search for every single file inside this all files, and for every single file we'll at first check if that single file is a directory, and if that single file which is a directory is not hidden, because we are not going to search for video files inside our hidden directories. Okay, so if we get a folder which is not hidden, then we can search for video files inside that particular folder. Okay, so for this I'll write my videos dot add all, and here I'll pass again the find videos, and I'll pass the single file here. Okay, so it will keep searching inside this folder for video files. Okay, so now outside of this if condition, let's create a else if block. So for the else if condition, we'll check if the file that we are getting is a video file or not. So in this example we are going to work with the mp4 type files. Okay, so I'll write single file dot get name dot to lowercase dot ends with, and we'll check if the file name ends with .mp4 or not. And then inside the if conditions body we'll just add this mp4 file inside our my videos. So I'll write my videos dot add, and here I'll pass the single file. Okay, so now what this method is doing, it's getting a file path as the parameter. It's storing this all of the files inside this file path, inside this all files, and it's searching for all of the files inside here. And if it finds a directory, it's doing search again inside this folder, and if it finds a mp4 file, it's adding this file to the my videos array list. So now finally we can return the array list outside of this for loop. So I'll write return, and I'll pass the my videos array list. Okay, so now we can go inside our display files method, and here at first let's initialize our recycler view. So I'll write recycler view equals find view by id r.id dot recycler view, and then recycler view dot set has fixed size to true. Let's set the custom layout for our recycler view. So I'll write recycler view dot set layout manager, and here I'll create a new grid layout manager, and for the first parameter we'll pass the context, and the second parameter is the span count. So here I'll pass 2. Okay, and then also initialize our array list that we defined up here. So for this I'll write file list equals new array list, and then inside the file list we'll add all the files that we are getting from the internal storage by calling this find videos method. Okay, I'm explaining that. So file list dot add all, and here I'll call the find videos method, and I'll pass the storage path that we defined earlier here, this one for the internal storage. So I'll pass the path here. Okay, so what that will do is it will pass the internal storage inside this find videos method, and the find videos method will search for mp4 files and will return a array list filled with all the mp4 files inside our internal storage. So here inside the file list we have all the mp4 files. Okay, now let's attach these files inside our custom adapter. So here I'll call our custom adapter that we created up. So custom adapter equals new custom adapter, and here for the parameters we need to pass a context first. So I'll pass this, and the second parameter is list of files. So for this I'll pass the file list. All right, and then as we are showing image files for our thumbnails, and it will make the recycler view transition much laggy. So for this we can add a attribute to our adapter. So I'll write custom adapter dot set has stable IDs, and here I'll pass true. So that will provide us a smooth transition inside our recycler view. Okay, and finally we can set this adapter to our recycler view. So I'll write recycler view dot set adapter, and here we'll pass our custom adapter. All right, so now let's run this application and see if it shows the video files or not. So as you can see, the app is now installed in our device, and it's asking for the permission to access the internal storage. So let's allow this, and after allowing, as you can see, it's showing all the video files inside our internal storage with the thumbnails and the file names. All right, So that's it for this part. In the next part of this video, we'll see how we can uh, implement on click listener and play these videos inside the video player view. Thank you so much for watching.